Hi, I'm Mr. Scary Fisherman with the Slicker Guy who never appeared in the book to begin with, but this edition was published after the movie was released, so y'all get to see me on the cover anyway. Woo! Hey folks, happy Halloween! And my little treat to you guys this year is the first ever From Pages to Pictures Halloween episode. And for this, we're going to talk about a movie that was actually quite popular for its time, but I'm going to guess very few of you read the book. Bet you never saw this one coming. This late 90s teen slasher is one I look back on with a light sense of nostalgia, and having read the book and done some behind-the-scenes research, I kinda think back on it in a whole new light. Which is why even though no one requested it, I still think it's worth talking about. The book was initially published in 1973, and instead of a teen slasher, it went in a far different direction, being more of a teen mystery novel with only one actual death in it, and everybody else just getting really bad boo-boos. Which is why in the 90s, the writers and producers of the Scream franchise said, nope, that's not what those crazy kids go for these days. It's all about the masked killers, the stupid teen cookie cutters, and the piled up body count. For a while, this movie was actually quite trendy, seeing as how they roped in such TV stars as Party of Five's Jennifer Love Hewitt and Buffy herself, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Despite the rather poor critical reception, the young people who went to see it were the ones who made it popular enough to spawn some rather atrocious sequels I refuse to talk about, and a wide variety of parodies and spoofs. It didn't matter what age group you were in either, because kids shows at the time were certainly having fun with this one too.
What scary movie are we watching?
I Know What You Did Last Wednesday. It's the sequel to I Know What You Did Last Tuesday. This is boring now. I'll say.
Ironically, among noteworthy detractors from the film adaptation was Lois Duncan, the author of the book, who hated it with a passion, saying that it trivialized violence and made murder seem like a game, which was not true to the spirit of the book. But that's not the main reason why she hated it, and that's why I want to talk about this movie, because I think it poses a very interesting situation when it comes to ethics and adapting. You see, the main reason why Lois hated this movie was because it kinda hit too close to home. She had a teenage daughter who was murdered back in 1989, and even though the filmmakers knew nothing about this, the movie kind of brought back some nasty memories. Awkward. The four leads in the film do come across very much the same in many aspects from their book counterparts, despite the difference in physical appearance and certain parts of history. Julie used to be a perky, fun-loving gal until the car accident last summer changed her forever, and now it's up to her to figure out who's sending creepy notes out to people. The book's version of Helen was also quite the beauty queen contestant and went on to be a Golden Girl reporting for the local news and getting quite the salary. In contrast, her film counterpart did try to go on to become an actress, but that didn't quite pan out, so she decided to come home and work in the family clothing store. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised. I always thought she'd fall back on that ad company gig with Robin Williams. Barry fits the bill as being the D-bag jock in both versions of the story, only the book version makes him out to be more of a spoiled kid who sticks with his girlfriend Helen only because breaking up with a Channel 5 Golden Girl would be crazy. In the film, though...
You know what? You guys should check out a mirror once in a while. You two look like shit run over twice.
Don't fuck with me, Max!
Jesus! I'll fucking kill your ass. I got no problem with that.
Get the fuck off me! Get off of me! We take this to our grave! Let me hear it! You fucking say it.
Okay, Barry, we take this to the grave.
I'll take Jerky Jocks with a double score on Most Likely to Die in this movie. Yep, slasher movie bingo. It's a thing now. And lastly, Ray in the book disappeared for a while after the accident and ended up floating up and down California, surviving off of odd jobs, trying to put the past behind him. And when he comes back, he's got quite the beard to show for it. Ray in the movie works as a regular on the fishing docks, something which was only mentioned as a brief job in the book, and this factoid later aids in making him look like a suspect. As far as minor characters, the book gave more time to the parents of all four teenagers, as well as giving them full histories, like Ray's father being a former football player, not a fisherman, and Barry's mother mother being a bit of a control freak over his life. But neither of those characters even so much as made it onto screen. Julie's mother in the book got a lot more page time and is even revealed to be slightly psychic when it comes to bad things happening. But the film very obviously is not focused on the parents, as is evidenced by the mere 2 scenes or so that Julie's mom gets, and Helen's father is just your typical walk-by dad watching TV. Oh well, forgot what he did in the book anyway. 2 characters from the book that didn't make it into the film were Bud, Julie's new date after Ray left her, and Collie, a young guy who moves into Helen's condo and mysteriously starts flirting with her. And both of these characters do sort of have film counterparts. I'd say Bud bears a slight resemblance to the Max character in the movie only because Max was a guy who just sort of wanted to date Julie at one point. Only problem with that is, he's the first to go. Aw, I'm just a one-off suspect character who you can check off your list of killer suspects early on now. Thanks, reshoots! And like I said before, Ben Willis, the killer fisherman, was never in the book to begin with, but that's what happens when you hit some guy in the road, dump him in the ocean, and never choose to report it. He just might live and come back to kill ya. In the book, the person the kids hit on the road is a young boy named David Gregg who was coming home one night on a bike with no reflectors on and ended up being a statistic. Which is why, spoiler alert, Collie ended up being the attempted killer because David was his little brother. So the motive was coming home from Vietnam to find his little brother dead and the killer getting on with their lives. The last character with a counterpart is Megan Gregg, a young woman living by herself who is also David's older sister. By contrast, the film gives us Missy Egan, the older sister of another David character who they only think they hit before the big twist comes that it was someone else entirely. In terms of story structure, the film takes a very linear route, showing the viewer the events that occurred last summer involving the accident first and foremost, with the pact never to tell anyone what happened that night. From there, it fast forwards to a year later when they all start getting strange letters from the person who knows. The book, by comparison, starts out at the point where the letters start going out, along with the sordid newspaper clippings, then proceeds to keep the audience in suspense by slowly filling them in on the details as the characters meet up and discuss what happened. So you don't actually find out what happened last summer until about 50 or so pages in. At first they all doubt the legitimacy of these threats and brush it off as a prank until something happens to Barry that lands him in the hospital. In the film, we had Barry get hit by a car and left to wallow after he's probably crapped himself with fear, but that's just the warm-up. In the book, Barry is in his dorm room when he gets a suspicious phone call. Someone claiming to have photographic evidence of the accident tells him to come outdoors and meet him on campus during a fireworks display, but instead, Barry is shot in the back and left for dead. Ouch. From there on is when the other characters launch their investigation by trying to contact the family members of the victim. In the book, Julie and Ray head out to visit Megan, and in the film, Julie and Helen go out to visit Missy. Both times they come to the conclusion that their perpetrator could not be them because they're too nice of a person, and also realize that what they did last summer ended up tearing a family apart.
Helen, we killed a man and then ruined the lives of everyone he knew.
I don't think we're that powerful, Julie. You're giving us way too much credit.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is the movie version. We can't have a moment of resonance. Gotta jump scare that drama away. And here's where both mediums completely part ways. With the film, there's plenty of build up to the 4th of July celebration, as that's when the accident happened a year ago, and that's where he's predicted to strike again. And he doesn't disappoint. Because here's where the best part of the slasher movie tropes finally start paying off. The whodunit accusations, the disappearing bodies, the off-the-wall body count, the tediously played out action sequences, the killer disappearing in between cuts, the car trouble, and my personal favorite, the phone that never works. You know, I always wondered why phones never seem to work in these slasher movies. What gives? Are they all bogging down the same hotline? Good morning, Mars Help Desk. How can I assist you?
A slicker-wearing fisherman is stalking me around.
What is it about him that's causing such an issue?
He cut my hair a bit on the side and made it all come down.
Thank you, caller. Hold the line. Good morning, Mars Help Desk. How may I be of service?
A psycho killer's at my house and giving me a scare.
What is it about him that's making you so nervous?
He's halfway through the door now and slashing in the air.
Thank you, caller. Hold the line.
way!
Good morning, Mars Help Desk. Tell me what's your crisis?
That guy's in my nightmares. He makes me have a cow.
Is this another prank call? You don't know what nice is.
It doesn't matter either away because I'm her boyfriend now.
Good morning, Mari's help desk. How can I help you?
I killed a filthy whore because she really had to pay.
Good gracious me, sir. There's no need to be drastic.
You know that it's not always a happy, happy day.
Yes, help desk. What seems to be the problem?
The weirdo with a mask is in my house and has a knife.
I've got too many callers and there's no way to solve them.
I think it's him to guess he's gonna try and take my life.
Sorry, caller, hold the line. Hey there, it's me, and I think I found your psycho.
Who you calling psycho? I find the term offensive.
Sorry, wrong extension. Please don't get angry.
Don't you cut us off or we're gonna get aggressive.
Hello, Mari's help desk.
Stop that crazy psycho. What about me? Don't you think I should run for cover? You sickos. Are the cops here? I should have found a while ago.
You'll be on ice for this.
Whatever you say, mother.
Everybody shut up! You get a gun now and you get a knife. You turn yourself and you run for your life. You go get sedation and I need a vacation.
But as was tradition with the book, more clues start showing up, leading the viewer on the guessing game to see who the real killer is, which leads us to the culprit. In this case, it's fisherman Ben Willis, who likes to scare the bejesus out of his victims before he guts them with a hook. But the one thing that saves our heroes at the end of the day is when the ever so competent killer clumsily gets his hands stuck in something. In the book, the only major climactic event that they build up to is a date. Yeah, you heard me, a date. But as it turns out, that date does get pretty eventful. After we find out that Barry's going to get better from the gunshot and fully recuperate, Collie pays Helen a visit and reveals that he has a date with Julie.
But wait, you ask? I thought Bud was the one dating Julie. Yes, sir. And Collie can be dating her too because, big surprise, Collie and Bud are the same person. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
One major villainous monologue expose later, and Collie goes after Helen too, but fails as Helen escapes out the bathroom window. Huh, I guess the Beatles lied to me. And finally, he goes to Julie's house to ask her out, but since Mom's got one of her bad feelings again, Julie decides to cancel on him at the door. So he decides to take her outside to
Choke a bitch?
in public when Ray stops by and KOs him with a flashlight. Ray calls off the pack, they go to the police, nobody dies, and super happy fun ending?
Oh, so the book had the super happy fun ending this time? Wow, that's a twist. Sorry, movie version of Helen and Barry. You were just too dumb to live.
You're a prick.
And plus, why would you have them come clean to the cops in the movie when everyone knows they'll need to keep the secret to squeeze another movie out of this one? Sequel bait!
Boy, that twist ending with Collie and Bud turning out to be the same person sure came out of nowhere, didn't it? Actually, that's one of the book's stronger points.
An astute reader would have picked up on several clues hinting towards that early on, considering that they were both older guys who went to Nam among other things. Yeah, there's a plot element that had to go for the movie as all the anti-Vietnam vibes the book had, since the movie was made in the 90s. But more so, I think Collie's a likely villain because he falls for the Scooby-Doo trap of being a newly introduced character just before the second act.
What, the new guy's always guilty?
And plus, it makes the book as it is essentially unfilmable. In the movies, you can't have a twist ending where two characters are the same person unless there's a costume involved, because otherwise audiences will see that right off the bat. Which kind of makes me wonder how they're going to remake this movie. Yep, that's a thing in the planning. Keep on the lookout. Still, this does raise a question of how much change is acceptable. I noticed that the premise of the film is pretty much lifted from an urban legend that was popular during this time period about a killer with a hook for a hand. This is a tried and true method of frightening the viewer because it takes something already known that supposedly happened and gives us the impression that what we're about to see is possible as well, despite how absurd it actually comes out. This gimmick worked in Candyman and urban legends, so why not make it work here? Yeah, let's discuss that. I've done plenty of major change cases before, and more often than not, they had the author's blessing. The fact that Lois Duncan hated the slasher tone of the film, and that the filmmakers later had to apologize for a story that brought up nasty memories of her own daughter's murder, leads me to believe that she wasn't involved in any way whatsoever in the making of the film. It's not just a petty thing either, whoever killed Lois's daughter was never found. She's written books about it, the story was on Unsolved Mysteries, she's even got a whole website detailing all of the evidence.
So yeah, I kind of think that maybe the filmmakers could have gotten her a little bit involved with this, but, you know, it's not a total loss. Not everything got tossed aside for this adaptation.
In the film's defense, you still have the twisted, winding road mystery aspect of finding out who the bad guy is, you still have the implied don't drink and drive message, you still have the audience thinking from the get-go they should have just bit the bullet and gone to the police after the accident, but at the same time, given how confusing our legal system is with federal and state laws, would you have done the right thing?
Let's hope none of us ever actually have to answer that. So now time for that age-old question. Book or movie, which one wins? Scale of betterness. Oh, it was so close, but tie.
That's balanced.
Ooh, this was a tough one to call. You know, when I first read this book, I was actually fresh off of watching the movie for the first time, and I was thinking the same as everybody else did in my school. Wow, is this boring? Where are all the deaths and everything? And that ending was way too quick. Why not have an action-packed finale like the movie did? After rereading it as an adult and knowing some of the history behind it, especially with the author, I kind of have a little bit more respect for the novel. I still think it dawdles around in places, but I appreciate how well the mystery aspect is handled and how many clues I missed out on the first time reading. In the end, it's just a teen mystery novel. Not like the slasher movie they made out of it. Now that I've long since grown out of my schoolboy crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt, I think I can view this one a little bit more fairly. Despite all the differences, it still sits pretty well in its mid to late 90s time capsule of teen horror light movies like Scream, Urban Legends, and even The Faculty to an extent. It's got all the dumb characters and cliches and all, but I find a lot of the scary stuff in there still holds up pretty well. So yeah, I think for what it's worth, the book and the movie are two completely different animals. And in that sense, they both hold their own weight.
Agreed.
Also, on a side note, I'd just like to say, Lois, if you ever do end up watching this, I honest to God hope you find out who did it. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Don't forget to join me next time as I bring you all on a fun family adventure, complete with marmalade. Ciao.
Oh no, don't tell me this episode's gonna end like this.
I scared you! I scared you! I scared you! I scared you!
That kid's parents are definitely gonna hear from me. Ciao for now.
You guys should check out a mirror once in a while. You two look like shit run over twice.
Also, on a side note, I'd just like to say, Lois, if you ever do end up watching this, my computer's going to sleep. If you like what you saw here, please, please, please try to help support it. I have a Patreon page. You can help me by going over there, throwing some money, whatever amount that you like to throw in. If you're not watching this on YouTube, I also have a YouTube channel. So go there and hit that subscribe button to be notified whenever new videos and new content come out. I'm also on Facebook. Go over there and like that page so you can be notified as well whenever a new episode or video of some sort come out, as well as exclusive behind the scenes content
content. You can also hit me up on Twitter over there to see what kind of stuff that I like to share. Just be warned though, I don't like getting too many messages. So if you're constantly sending me stuff all the time, I can get really agitated. Remember, my privacy is golden. And if you like my t-shirt, I got a t-shirt store over there too. I got links, I got fresh designs, I got new stuff coming out over there, provided of course that anything actually sells. That's about it. If you like what I do, hit that like button, Facebook me, tweet me, share me on your little social networking sites, do whatever you gotta do. Email me to all your little friends, and that's all I gotta say. Thank you and peace.